Thank you, Mayor.
Welcome.
As we've discussed previously, this will be a regular agenda item going forward, so we can provide regular updates. The picture we placed up there is a picture we received from staff. We are using this as part of the information we've also received about the unprofessional atmosphere that was created by the current district attorney. Some have used the terms frat house. And so this is a picture that with the appropriate language, we will also be placing on our city webpage. Since our last meeting, we've also received a letter from the Chamber of Commerce indicating that they are in support of the recall effort and their willingness to also serve as a place from a petition signature location. And so I wanted to make sure that has been placed on our website. Also, since our last meeting, the city attorney has submitted the language to the Secretary of State. I feel like it was very powerful language, so I do want to take a minute to actually read that. Alonzo Payne fails to perform the basic functions of the office of the district attorney, and what he does is misguided and dishonest. Under the category fails to perform basic duties, 20+ arrest warrants for serious felonies from just one community sat unprocessed in the DA's office for weeks, including domestic violence, assault, menacing, forgery, burglary, leaving perpetrators on the streets. Constant failures to comply with the Victim Rights Act, including 8 violations in just the first year in office for treating victims with disrespect and failing to consult with and keep them informed. Reduced an agreed upon plea deal to spite a victim who had filed a complaint. Backlog of 116 serious cases not filed in 6 months or more since law enforcement referral. Of those, 29 of the cases are more than a year old. And that is across the valley, to emphasize that this is not just an Alamosa issue. Cannot keep deputies. Under the category of dishonest and unfit. Cited for contempt of court for lying to the court. Lies to victims about the status of their cases. Allows and promotes an unprofessional environment, including alcohol in the office. Misguided. Has stated doesn't think jail is appropriate. Grants lenient plea deals for serious offenses such as murder, assault, drug distribution, and refuses to file or dismiss charges related to serious, or refuses to file or dismisses charges related to serious animal cruelty cases. We did receive an email from the Secretary of State late this afternoon. It looks like they are moving through that process, and we should definitely by their deadline of Tuesday be getting something back that will start the petition process. We will have 60 days to get what the minimum requirement is, which is 4,000. Our goal is 6,000. We are working behind the scenes to set that structure up. I really want to compliment Eric and Des for the amount of work that they're working on that, because there's a lot of research of state statute and other materials to make sure we do it properly. And there's a lot of coordination that's going into that, including even making badges that the petition individuals need to have, and keeping track of who has the petitions and the rules, all of that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of work going into those aspects. We want to make sure that we are ready to take advantage of those 60 days. The other ball that we have started rolling is, as you know, if the recall is successful, there needs to be other names on the ballot. So we have begun the process of reaching out to the political parties to make sure they understand what that process is. So we're starting to make sure people understand if they know of candidates that would be good or they feel would be good. We don't care. Here's what needs to be done, so we can make sure that there's candidates that would be on that same election to replace Payne. So we are kind of starting those processes working as well. The chief, Eric, and I had a meeting with those involved with the Recall Payne Facebook group today to make sure that we know what each other's doing. If there's information we have that could be helpful to the other, those types of things. Once we do get the official petition, we will add a section to our webpage that is then specific to the recall. So it will have the language, it will have where people can sign the petition and other items such as that. So we will begin setting that up. I did want to take tonight as a little bit of an opportunity as well of clearly there is a lot of interest from the media related to this. One of the concerns that staff has had from the beginning is we would hate for this to somehow be forced into fitting what's going on as a national debate. Should you be tougher on crime or not, or different things like that. We really feel it's much more nuanced than that. And in fact, some of the issues we have nothing to do with political viewpoints. It has to do with incompetence. It has to do with honesty. It has to do with other items that relate to the performance and not necessarily the philosophical views. However, since Payne has been very upfront on what his campaign is and that he doesn't believe jail is appropriate, there is a little bit of that area where we did give examples where on these more serious crimes, we weren't comfortable with some of what was pled down. But we also gave examples where we weren't even saying jail should have been something. So that example of the young man who took his life from a bullying situation, clearly we don't think the kids need to be in jail, but if there could have been maybe community service or something like that, that as an intervention type of situation. And so we just want to make sure we're clear about that anytime we're speaking about it. It's also an opportunity to talk about the lower level offenses where we've created or adopted, we didn't create, it was created in Seattle, but the LEAD program. And that's where it's low level shoplifting, other types of infractions where there's most likely an underlying addiction issue. And getting the 14th ticket is not going to make a difference in what that person is doing. What we have seen is very much some success of recidivism goes almost to zero with those people who are engaged with their case management. So there are areas of the spectrum where we very much want to make sure we are looking at what is the best tool type of situation. But on that spectrum, there are areas where jail and more severe penalties are very appropriate as well. And so we always want to make sure that we're clear with that. Finally, our local newspaper ran a story on the language being submitted to the Secretary of State. And for the first time, DA Payne actually provided a quote, and I found it very interesting. His quote was, "It concerns me that the taxpayers of Alamosa have to have their city council expend taxpayer dollars unconstitutionally and utilize the city attorney's time to support these efforts, as opposed to focusing on the issues they are charged to deal with." So I want to say, ironically, other than he's a little confused of what the federal constitution is and state statute, if you go back, get past that, we actually agree with him. We don't want to be working on this. And it is unfortunate that we're having to spend time and resources working on this. We wish that when someone was assaulted, that the paperwork would actually be processed. We wish that when victims meet with the DA's office, they are not lied to, shouted at, or ignored. We wish that the DA's office would not lie to the courts. We wish that the office wasn't so mismanaged that it could not actually hire and retain attorneys and other staff. But however, since there's no acknowledgement that these very serious issues do in fact exist, that place our community and employees at risk, we have absolutely no choice to remove the threat, which is District Attorney Payne. With that, I'm here for any questions.
Okay, thank you for that update, Ms. Brooks. I'll see if any other council members would like to make any comments at this time. I don't see any comments. I am thankful for the update, and thankful for the team who's working on this. I believe we will be successful and get the outcome that we are seeking. Really appreciate this being a part of the agenda as we move forward to keep the public informed every step of the way, because we initially said we were going to be as transparent as possible, keep them informed, and keep moving forward with this until we get the results that we desire.